Hi, my name is Taquasia Gibson. This is my vlog number 4 for Black Psychology. I am a Black woman. I identify, as a Black woman, and I've never had a problem with it. But excuse me, excuse me. But I feel like I came to terms with being Black and like realizing my racial identity after I moved to Delaware, and I lived with my aunt for a few years. From the age of until the age of 14, I was going to a predominantly white school, and I had my hair permed. And whenever I moved to Delaware, it was a complete switch. My aunt transitioned me to being natural, and I didn't realize that going to a predominantly white school and then shifting to a predominantly Black school was gonna be as big for me as it was. And it wasn't a bad switch for me, but I feel like it impacted me positively because of the fact that I was finally being surrounded by other kids who look like me. And I was being surrounded by other Black women who were very comfortable with themselves and with their hair and with being Black in general. And I had more faces that looked like me. And I feel like if I didn't get to have that experience, I wouldn't have been as comfortable with myself, because honestly, growing up in a white school, it did kind of impact me because nobody looked like me. Nobody looked like me. And I lived with my grandparents at the time whenever I was growing up. So, excuse me, eyes itchy. I grew up with my grandparents, and they lived in a pretty quiet neighborhood that didn't really have a lot of other kids in the neighborhood at all. So the few kids that were there were white, and the only other Black kid that I had to hang out with was my cousin, but she was a little bit older than me. So after a while, it was just kind of just me. So I wasn't really surrounded by other people who looked like me. And the only other Black images I had was maybe a couple Tyler Perry movies that would come on, and Tyler Perry isn't really the best symbolism for what a Black person is, in my opinion. His movies aren't the best representation that you can have. So I didn't really have a lot of people who were who looked like me that I could just sit down and have conversations with and be around. And moving to Delaware is what helped me. And excuse me, I want to make sure I don't have the last question wrong. And I feel like race is very central to my overall identity because of the fact that I also now I go to a HBCU, so I'm surrounded by people who look like me. So I'm more now, the older I got, the more my eyes were open to Black issues, and it wasn't like that whenever I was growing up with my grandparents. So I feel like race is very central to my overall identity because a lot of things are going to be impacting me differently because of the fact that I'm Black. And I'm going to have to think about my next move for certain things, and other people aren't going to have to do that because of the fact that they may be white. For example, I use my name sometimes. Before I write my name on an application, somebody named Abigail probably won't have to think to themselves, oh wow, my name is going to look weird on this application. I have to think about that. And race is very central to my overall identity. And I feel like race is also central to my overall identity because I've looking through history and looking at how much Black people went through and how much we're still going through and how much we overcome, it gives me motivation. Although I don't like the negative things that we went through, it still inspires me because of the fact that we went through it, we're still going through it, and we're still making amazing moves that most people wouldn't imagine us to do. So that's my journey.